you can read into these reports and try to figure out who's, leaking these things in order to gain some leverage or, kind of block out some teams that maybe you don't want to deal with in this conversation. It is interesting that the Suns are in there.
I'm hearing we have some breaking news here. Bronny Watch. Yeah, that's right. This is something that happened over the weekend. It's Bronny Watch.
Man, 20, you got a big ass 24. Forehead in that graphic. Jesus Christ, that's like a 5-head. Man.
That's one of those graphics that you see come through and you get a little scared.
Yeah, the mood is tense. I've been on some serious reports, but nothing quite like this.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Freaking Bronny James, the rumor that won't die. Everybody talking about it over the long weekend, and Shams Charania said, hey, why don't we pour some more fuel on that fire?
Yeah, Bronny James has over 10 workout invites during the pre-draft process, but I'm told he's only going to visit a couple of those, and that's going to include the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. The Suns have the number 22 overall pick in the draft. He's under consideration there among, obviously, a lot of players at 22, but it's going to come down to the development plan. It's going to come down to guaranteed money. Whether it's late in the first round, in the second round, but the fact that there's only going to be a couple teams, 2-3 teams that Bronny James visits, and the Lakers and Suns, interestingly, are among the 2 teams.
So 10 teams have reached out, including the Lakers and the Suns. Of those 10, those are the only 2 he's taking, and he might take a third. What are you guys reading into this? Is this all just simply to try to land LeBron for one of these teams, or what's your read?
Yes.
I mean, is it that simple?
I mean, yeah, it's that simple. I mean, why? Listen, Bronny James might end up being a good NBA player someday, but it's not anytime soon. And for what the Suns are trying to do, he wouldn't fit the bill. Like, he just wouldn't. So the only reason why you're even entertaining this is the thought that not only would you give him time to develop with not only here, but also the G League in a 2-way kind of situation, but he also gets to play with his pops and potentially other players that might come here because of his pops. So I don't know why you entertain this if you're the Suns, if it's anything else besides that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're kind of at the point where you can read into these reports and try to figure out who's, leaking these things in order to gain some leverage or, kind of block out some teams that maybe you don't want to deal with in this conversation. It is interesting that the Suns are in there. Because like Saul said, I don't think he's ready to be part of a playoff rotation for a team that has title aspirations in year 1, probably not even in year 2. I do think he brings some traits that maybe in the long run they would like to have on this team. But that's tough to envision them using that number 22 pick on Bronny outright without some sort of feeling that, yes, if we do this, we have a good shot at LeBron. And like we've said before, every team should be having this conversation. It's like Bobby Marks told us the other day, like, you owe it to yourself to at least have the conversation and say, hey, like, if we draft Bronny, if we devote resources to developing him and giving him an NBA future and helping him along, would you be interested in also joining the situation? And I think if you look around the league, there are very few teams that would make sense for. Obviously, the big thing against the Suns, he would have to sacrifice $45, nearly $50 million in order to make it happen and sign here on a vet minimum. But I will say, if you look around the league, like, there aren't that many teams that can offer him a max contract that have a good shot at drafting Bronny and would actually want to, and now that are going to get the chance to actually work him out in person and see him up close. So I think that's not nothing. I still think the most likely scenario is he ends up back in LA, but it's not nothing.
Yeah, I feel like if it isn't about LeBron, you better trade some kind of asset for a second round pick and try to get him that way, because at 22, it's not the kind of gamble you can take if you don't have a pretty good feeling that LeBron is coming to the Valley. So, but obviously there's fire here. I mean, it's more than just smoke when he's only working out for 2 teams. There's obviously something there, but I think it's probably right now probably a low percentage when you're looking at it, just because will LeBron James really take a veteran minimum? Like, I don't think so. But if you do like Bronny, it's such a stretch at 22 if it's not for him. And I mean, we heard Rich Paul over the weekend. He was on TNT as part of the Western Conference Finals Altcast, and he says, quote, LeBron James is a free agent. Then he paused. He said, but LeBron currently has a pending player option, which was, it seemed like an intentional slip of the tongue, right? He's a free agent, which to me feels like they're at least exploring what life outside of the Lakers could be like right now.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Listen, man, I know $47 million basically would be the cut he would take to come to the Valley, because he would essentially sign a $3 to $4 million vet minimum contract, which is just in our world. No, we wouldn't do that. Hell no. But he's worth over $1 billion. Okay. He's got assets upon assets upon assets. Bron ain't worried about that kind of money right now, especially not for his family. So I know a lot of people are, they're anti-LeBron for a variety of different reasons, none of which are really applicable to, can he help the Suns win a championship? Because that answer is clearly yes. Like, so whatever people's personal feelings are, like, they need to set them aside and understand, like, this is a very real scenario that could happen. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but there's been so many things in the last 5 to 10 years in sports that have been outright ridiculous that nobody would have ever thought would happen, that have happened. And here we are. Kevin Durant being one of them, going to the Warriors. Like, that was just so beyond comprehension. Nobody thought that could absolutely happen. So LeBron going to the Suns is not completely out of the realm of possibility.